It's Tuesday, January 7th, 2014.
Oh my God, you got it right.
I'm Rim.
I'm Scott.
And this is Geeknights. Scott, I think, was betting with himself on that. And tonight, we're talking about the Games of MAGFest 11.
MAGFest 2014.
The 11th MAGFest.
I think it might be more than the 11th MAGFest.
Maybe the 12th MAGFest? We went to 9,
may have been the
10, I don't know.
I think it may have been the 12th.
The most recent MAGFest.
2014 MAGFest.
Let's do this. I'm almost relieved that we don't have any conventions until PAX East.
You skipped my opening bit. You know what my opening bit is?
What's your opening bit?
Woman.
It's warm today.
It's a little bit warm
we
today.
We didn't do any
Only
Geeknights.
relatively speaking.
Now, just want to point out that it wasn't that cold in New York.
Compared to other places, it wasn't as cold in New York. It was still fucking cold.
But it was not below 0 Fahrenheit because that, just growing up in Detroit.
Okay, Fahrenheit, yeah, it came close. We were in the single digits.
We hit
Fahrenheit.
4. We hit 4. And you know what? I will admit that 4 is pretty nippy.
Just only pretty nippy?
Well, it was funny
It's
because
ridiculously cold.
So I did not, my life, I think about these things.
You have hair.
I do. Hair that I wash in the morning so it gets wet.
Dry it before you go outside.
That takes too long. You know what I did? I did not wash my hair in the morning for 3 days.
Hair makes a big difference. I was really cold.
Also hats. So when I walked outside, one, I didn't get my hair wet because I grew up in Michigan, went to school in Rochester. I've experienced frozen head hair. It's not pleasant. I get down to the street and I start walking toward the subway, and there's a cop. And he stops a guy who's walking out of his apartment, and he's like, "Yo, dog, you should put on a hat." And the guy's like, "What? It's not that cold." And then he kind of pauses, and the cop's like, "You're going to get frostbite." And the guy's like, "Yeah," and he goes back inside. But there were actually cops going around, like, telling people, like, that was the thing I saw people tweeting about, to put on hats because it was cold enough to get frostbite if you live too far from the subway.
I did not witness that.
Maybe it's just your neighborhood? I don't know. There's a lot more cops in my neighborhood because there's that bridge thing right there. Like, there's the cop every day forcing
the traffic
people.
cops.
Yeah, but they talk to people. Like, they hang out. They
when I bike in the summer past traffic cops and crossing guards, they talk to you. They try to.
Try to. I imagine, "Yo, asshole, you're the... Hey, you can't go."
Something like that.
So, yeah, we're back. We're bad. I don't expect there'll be that many interruptions to Geeknights for a few months.
PAX East.
PAX East is in April?
I thought it was March.
I don't remember. So why? It's a ways out.
Anime Boston.
Anime Boston still got to submit panels to. What else? What other cons? PAX Prime, I guess.
When's Zenkai Con?
Sometime in the summer. I don't know. We're committed to going. I just don't.
Are we?
No, yeah. We're doing like 4 panels.
I see a bucket. Well, I
don't know.
don't see a bucket. I see a pail and a word that rhymes with it.
We also, it's this weekend, maybe? I don't know.
Not doing anything this weekend except watching footballs and maybe baking some breads.
You want to do some video or some game streaming?
Does it involve football or warm bread?
I don't know. People really, the Utena videos are starting to get some views.
Oh, yeah, we should do that, but it's cold.
It's going to be like 50 fucking degrees this weekend.
It's going to rain.
Not Friday.
It's going to rain. It is.
I'm going to bike on Saturday. Fuck y'all.
I saw a dude biking this morning.
Scott, 2 days ago, I was walking home wearing my heaviest jacket, thinking to myself, fuck, walk real slow, don't let the cold air in. I saw a dude wearing tights and a ski jacket running.
Yeah, I see people running a lot. Running's one thing.
It was 6 degrees.
Running heats you up. Biking, it's like when it's like there's a fan blowing on you. You're creating your own wind
So,
chill.
Scott, I know you don't ski, but I'll say one thing. When I go skiing, like...
Same shit happens?
So the temperature on the ground in the wind during the cold snap in New York was about the temperature I experienced on the top of the mountains.
Oh, another reason not to ski. Cool.
So the problem is, you get to the top of the mountain and it's that cold and it's windy. So you start skiing and your face starts to freeze.
But then you're going down the mountain, it's getting warmer.
And so as you're going down,
And
you're
you're
getting
exerting
warmer
yourself.
and you're exerting yourself. So by the bottom, you're so hot you want to take your coat off. Anyway, we're back, all that stuff. So I got a geek bite. I don't know if you have any news or anything.
I have news.
There's a lot of news, but so I'll do my geek bite really quick. I played the Stanley Parable. I don't think it's really worth doing a whole show on unless we do a broader topic about that kind of game.
I played the demo. That's the one where you walk around the hallways in the Half-Life engine, and it just sort of like the guy tells you what to do.
Yeah, so fuck the demo, play the full game. It added a lot and really, really polished it.
Yeah,
like, in
I
a
played
big
that
way.
a long time ago, and then I just ignored it.
If I had to summarize this game, and Scott can talk about it because he played the demo. This is just more than the demo.
It's like Bastion, the FPS,
It's
without
what
the action.
You know what it is? It's what Elevator Source should have been. Like it's the same kind of game as Elevator Source. It's an experience.
Non-game.
It's a game.
It's an entertainment software.
Yes, interactive amusement.
It's
I
an
would
entertainment software.
I would argue that it fits into our definition of ideal game. Definitely.
Sure.
Because you play through the game and your decisions affect your personal outcome. Play the game again, different decisions make a different outcome.
There's only a limited set of outcomes.
All games have a limited set of outcomes.
Yeah, but
the universe has quanta.
NetHack has a effectively infinite set of outcomes, as does Dwarf Fortress.
But it is technically limited.
Technically.
There is a limit. The Stanley Parable, Scott, the new version, has more outcomes than you would expect, and they're subtle.
Does it have more than Chrono Trigger?
I'll put it this way. I played it for 2 hours, and I saw all the outcomes I cared to, and at no point did anything repeat. And what amazed me about this game, or I guess what surprised me, I shouldn't say amazed, is the number and variety of ways the narrator would react to things I did that I did not expect him to react to. And also the fact that in the kind of remade game, there's a very ominous feeling in the beginning. Like the game almost feels sinister, depending
it felt
on
sinister when I played it
the
originally.
directions you take and where you go. I don't want to spoil it at all, but you should. It's a game that everyone should experience. It is an interactive amusement that is highly amusing. And the moment that got me as I walk around and I'm doing stuff, and basically the gist of this game, then you get this experience and you're walking, and eventually there's a choice. There's 2 doors, and the narrator is kind of describing Stanley got up and walked around, and Stanley decided to go into the door on the left.
And you don't have to go in the door on the left.
And I go into the door on the right, and things go off the
Why
rails.
don't you just go in the door on the left.
And if you do that, it's just so. What surprised me was how reactive the moderator was to me. Like at one point, I walked into a place, and I'm just kind of hanging out in there, looking around, and then the narrator's like, "There's really nothing to do in this room. Stanley really should just get on with his journey." Really? You're going to stay in that room? Well, fine. And stuff happens. So I got to a point where there's a room and there's a phone and it's ringing. And it's like Stanley was about to embark on the great journey. And the narrator's saying this long thing. So I see there's a cord. So I run around the room, just click on everything. And I click on the cord and it just unplugs the phone and it stops ringing. And then the narrator's like, really? Really? Well, fuck. It's really funny. It is as funny as Portal, but there's no skill game in there. It's Portal without the game part, but with the other game part. Because game means a lot of things.
These people who make these things should stop making entertainment softwares and should just make amusement park places. They should just become, what's it called at Disney? What's that job?
Well, this is that.
Imagineers?
In fact, if you could make the Stanley Parable.
They should just become Imagineers and quit their video game making ways.
No, here's the thing. You could not fully make the Stanley
Parable.
Parable.
Or Imagineers should make entertainment softwares just like this.
The problem with making the Stanley Parable in the real world is that it uses non-Euclidean geometry heavily.
Yeah.
There's a lot of places where you'll walk around.
So does the Haunted High Mansion.
But it's tricking you with mirrors and things. It's not actually non-Euclidean. This is an actually non-Euclidean space.
There's plenty of those. Every amusement park ride nowadays is just 4 3D screens surrounding you anyway.
Yeah, you could do it that way, but that's... The Stanley Parable, I laughed out loud a bunch of times. It is super fun. It is well worth interacting with this thing, this ideo game, this interactive series of decisions that gives you a personal outcome that you can repeat. And once you've played through and you think you're done, go on YouTube and find the endings you didn't find in the game. Don't try to save that fucking baby. It's not worth it.
So here's the news, right? Apparently there was a dude we never heard of until now named Greg Martin, and he died. So I want to give him some extra recognitions because I saw this on the internet, but I didn't see it on enough internet. He's one of those guys.
Rock and Gospel Blues?
No. One of those.
That's the football player? Rugby player?
No.
Okay, if you do Greg Martin, I'm finding a lot of Greg Martins that aren't
That's a common name, okay? Is one of those people that did something really important that you know, but he was, unheralded and unrecognized for his great works. And it's like, well, we should recognize his great works even though we are too late.
Is it this DeviantArt guy?
No. He is the guy who did lots and lots of video game box art in your childhood, and you didn't even realize.
Oh.
For example, Little Nemo Dream Master NES, Pac-Man Game Boy, Snow Brothers NES, Adventure Island Game Boy, Felix the Cat NES, Sonic 2.
Oh, man, Sonic 2.
Bonk's Adventure, Bomberman, DuckTales 2, Flintstones. He did all the art for all these video game boxes. Pac Attack SNES, Tengen Pac-Man, NES Pac-Man, Sonic Spinball, a lot of Sonic box art, Bombermans, Time Gal, Arrow the Acrobat. And there's a whole thread.
Etc.
Yeah, there's a whole thread here on Nintendo Age Forum that shows like all his box arts. And once you see the box arts, you're like, that guy, all those boxes look the same. Oh my God, that art.
I guess we have to add to the Google juice so that he'll pop up over all these rugby players and things.
Exactly. So, yeah. Now the thing is, what this makes me want to do is not only to recognize and remember him and his great and memorable box art,
but to figure out other people who do box art.
To find other video game box art artists from back in the day. Or we don't know the Atari guy, I forget his name, right? Who did all like the Pitfalls and all those ones, and then the breakout guy who did all those ones. I think I saw a video of that guy doing the super breakout like live sketching or whatever. Anyway.
Oh.
Like, yeah, there should be some more recognition of video game box artistes from the 80s, 90s, early 2000s. Not anyone who's doing it today, they can shove it. They just use their computer. They can't try.
So, things of the day. This video is just kind of amazing and so enjoyable. I can't. You just all need to watch it. This is Story Wars. It's an animation.
Sure, we didn't already do this?
I couldn't find any example of us having done it.
All right.
I've searched multiple times in multiple venues. So, Story War. This is actually on Frederator, Cartoon Hangover, and basically, this is an animation of the kind of stories that come out of Story War, the game. And it's kind of an ad for Story War, but it's a really good ad because it's really funny and I really like the style. And this is the kind of show that I would watch if it was a show. In the Bee and Puppy Cat, Dr. Lollipop, Bravest Warriors. It's in that genre almost, but with a little twist of Slayers.
Definitely a twist of Slayers.
This thing is great and you need to watch it.
Doesn't make me want to play the game though.
I haven't actually played the game. The thing is,
I'm saying it doesn't make me want to play the game. Not saying the game is bad.
Every game that makes stories that I've seen has not been as good as old Nanofictionary. And no one talks about Nanofictionary.
Nanofictionary?
Pretty sure we've done a show on Nanofictionary.
So good.
But yeah, watch this thing. It's great.
So, Space Dandy.
Space Dandy.
Is going to save anime. Or supposedly is going to save anime. Watch the first episode. Not bad.
Yep.
Not bad at all.
Too late. Kill la Kill already saved anime.
Sure. Everything that saves anime is saving it with boobies. But anyway.
I love how as the opening of that keeps going on, the boobies are just boobying and boobying more and more and more.
So, Japan gets all the video games we don't get. And mostly we concentrate on the unreleased console games that Japan gets that we don't get, especially like DS games and, basically mostly Nintendo games.
Yeah.
But Japan actually gets tons and tons of mobile phone games that we never get here ever. And no one seems to care about that at all, even though some of them are probably really awesome, especially if you care about licensed properties that are Japanese. I'm sure there's plenty of Crayon Shin-chan phone games you could get that we don't have, right? But we're never going to have them. So no Elephant Dance for us. So here's a commercial for one such game, Space Galaga, which is Space Dandy Galaga for your phone.
It looks really stylish.
It basically looks like Galaga for your phone, but Space Dandy. How come we don't have that here? Hello? This is why you
Well,
guys
Space
in
Dandy
America.
did just come out.
Right, but this is why you guys in America don't make money on the animes, because you're trying to just make money on the animes. You got to bring out every single thing that's related to. That's just how the
More
Japanese
importantly,
do-
you've got to bring it out right the fuck away.
Exactly.
Like, I remember when Madoka Magica.
That's how they're making money on Space Dandy in Japan, because they're putting out phone games and toys and toothbrushes and the whole shitload, right?
Even in the U.S., remember way back when My Little Pony like turned into the big thing? It was a while before there were things to sell. So you know who makes money off of you if you try to make money off of a show and not of the merchandise? People who illegally bootleg stuff with your IP on it in artist alleys.
Right. Make the shit and bring the shit out immediately. Meanwhile, Space Dandy, the first episode aired in the U.S. first, but they got the Space Galaga already developed, already on their phones, like right the hell now, and people here don't even know that exists.
That's how it rolls.
Yeah.
So, in the meta moment, thank you all who came to MAGFest and the 4 panels that Scott and I were on, especially the people who showed up at 10 fucking a.m. for our Bad Games panel.
Seriously, why would you do that?
Also, that mage's room was kind of in the back, and on the map, we're like, oh shit, is this tiny fucking room in the middle of nowhere? But
Well,
no.
it wasn't that tiny.
The room was pretty big, and it actually was rocking the entire con.
Yeah, people were into it.
Yeah.
It seemed like there were certain people like that's what they were there for.
Well,
Which was interesting.
Notice how the panel attendance has really gone up as they've pushed the academic stuff over the media guests.
Super Art Fight was in a bigger room, and it was really crowded in there.
Yeah.
So-
MAGFest is on the upswing, but I think MAGFest is going to have a cap next year because
We'll see what happens.
we'll see what happens. So MAGFest, you were great. Everyone who came to see us at MAGFest, you were great. If you wanted to play a game with us, we didn't play a game with you. I'm sorry. I was drunk and wandering around a lot. I might have said, yeah, I'll see you later. I was probably drunk and I don't remember. Also, hot tub party.
Mhm.
So, yeah.
Any other meta things?
The book club book is and was
Aidoru.
Aidoru. We're done with it. We're gonna
I finished reading it like yesterday.
finally. I read 2 full books since I finished it.
All right, we'll see.
2 more Ian M. Banks books.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I almost want to make the next book club book that Wool book that listeners keep giving us copies of. And then we got more copies of at that charity dinner we went to at PAX Prime. Because today, the CTO of my company was like, oh, hey, Rim, so there's a book, and I know you really like good sci-fi that I just read, and it's great, and it's like, and it was that book.
It was Wool.
Yeah, it was Wool.
Is it
He was
about?
like,
Is it about sheep
I don't know.
or androids dreaming of them?
I don't know. I've got
Or
like
shearing.
5 physical copies of it because people keep
knitting
giving them to
sweaters.
me. One of them is signed by the author.
Okay.
So I guess, I don't know. I might make some dry history in my book instead.
At work, they gave away free copies of Fosse, if you want, which is pretty sure is a biography or something. It's a giant book. I could make that a book club book.
No.
I didn't even take my free copy because who the hell wants that?
A company I do business with in Turkey gave me, as a gift, this huge, gigantic history book of a particular city in the old Roman Empire.
They know that much history, huh?
That book looks really, really good. And also, Emily's mom gave me a book that is titled Strategy. And so far, it is the kind of book that Scott and I will love and you will all hate.
Okay.
It is take like characteristics of games and go way more academic and way more historical.
Mm-hmm.
It's up our alley. It's also really fucking thick.
All right.
Join our forum. It's awesome. It's rocking again now that the holidays are over.
Think about everything that there is on the internet, every protocol on the internet for communicating, right? That you can think of. Twitter, Facebook, Google+, social networks, IRCs, forums.
Gopher. What about Gopher? Gopher.
Not Gopher.
Gopher. No Gopher.
All right. Websites, everything that you YouTubes, everything. We are there. Come and find us in those places.
We're not on BitTorrent anymore.
Steam groups.
Those old torrents stopped working a long time ago.
Right?
If you can even find the trackers.
You can email us, geeknights@frontrecruit.com. You can. There's so many
Actually,
ways
a listener
to communicate with us and the other people who listen to this show.
I have not looked at it
You
yet.
have to take advantage of at least some of them.
I have not looked at it yet. A listener sent us a video question. Once I
I
watch it,
watched it. It's the guy from Australia who was. I already answered him in
Oh.
YouTube, but I'll address it anyway because
well, I didn't watch the video yet, so you can't. No spoilers.
this is a Tuesday show, right?
Yeah, no spoilers.
All
'cause
right, so it's game related.
I
So-
was gonna do a video answer.
No. So remember,
God damn it.
remember we were in Australia and we played Blockus and Hanabi. with
Oh,
those
it's
two
the
people?
smart couple.
Right, yeah. So
They were really smart.
The dude, his name's Bane. I guess it's his real name, which is fucking awesome. His real name's Bane. Hell yeah.
Hello, Batman. You haven't even seen that movie. You don't know what I'm referencing.
I know who Bane is, though, because I watched Batman the Animated Series.
Do you know his funny voice? I
thought he talks like the way in the South Park episode.
It's hard to describe his
You're
accent.
talking more like Inspector Gadget.
That would be
Yes.
move the glow to the other
That's
button
what you're
and
doing,
click on
right?
the...
You're not doing a Bane voice. Anyway, so he made a video. He didn't need to make a video to ask this question. Basically, the question he was asking is, his partner, right? They're playing more games now since PAX Os, right? More better games.
Ooh, stepping it up.
But the games they play, the game he was using an example is a game called Cuba that we never played. But we don't need to know how to play it. In Cuba, sometimes, because it's a game, right? You can make a move where you'll get 4 points. Or you can make a move where you'll get 3 points, but other people might lose points, right? So it's like, and basically his partner doesn't like games where you attack people.
Welcome to the world of direct fucking, a.k.a. highly political.
So my answer was, I don't know how to change a person's personality, sorry. The end.
The real answer is, if you want to play competitive games and want to get good at them, you have to either only play 2-player games or be able to accept that you will lose due to politics.
No, but it's like he wants to know how to make her accept that she will lose to politics. And I was like, she won't.
I was talking at her, not you.
Oh.
I remember our friend Luke, not Luke Crane, different Luke, way back, when we were first getting into
But he was the
German
one
board games.
asking.
Yeah, well, I'm saying we started playing El Grande. Like, that was our first real German board game after like Settlers and Carcassonne. Like, that was the first like wooden cubes game. That's where we went like full on after that. And I remember there was a moment when I had this realization. I was playing the game and I realized, wait a minute, I can do this and get 3 points. Or I can do this, get 2 points, and deny Luke 4 points. Luke is winning by 1 point. And can get 2 points on his turn, and I did all the math, and I did the series of actions that was guaranteed to win me the game, and he got really fucking pissed.
Right. There's no way to change that person. If you are that person, maybe you can change yourself, but as being another if you are not that person who is upset at people hurting each other in games, then you can't change someone else's personality. You just have to
you know how I've gotten around that? Play 2-player games, because
or don't play with but he wants to play the multiplayer
games. You got to get someone to be able to play those games. You have to get that person to play 2-player games a lot, where there is no difference between getting 3 points or getting 2 points and denying 1 point. So that will, if you play 2-player games a lot that have direct attacks and aren't just races, and you have that differential, that is the most intuitive way to make it clear that hurting someone else is the same as helping yourself, and you cannot discriminate between the two. They're identical.
It's just, I think some people have a personality such that where if someone's points go down, theirs or another's, right? It's like they don't want to see anyone harmed, even within the context of a game where no one's actually being harmed. It's like that just upsets them that there is harm, whether they caused it or someone else caused it.
I guess I've seen
and
people...
they can deal, and they just, those people, I've never seen a person who was that kind of person that didn't like that come around and become a person who likes it.
Many of our friends who are women have had that problem in the past.
I think most people have this problem, actually,
but
regardless of gender.
But I have seen people get over it, and the best way I can think of, because I don't have a assured way, just based on my experience, if you want any chance at all, you have to play 2-player games where both things happen, and that is the only way to reinforce viscerally that, these are the same thing.
I think some people just don't, they have a higher priority than winning. They don't care, right? And you can't make them care about winning as much.
Here's the other way. Play a game like Bonanza. Because Bonanza
the fucking is concealed.
Well, it's extremely political, but it's so interactive that it sort of glosses over the fact that it's actually extremely political, and that could also...
People don't know that they've been harmed because it's not obvious. Like, you lose 10 points.
But eventually, if they keep playing, they might start to notice or start to not notice when it happens more directly in more complex games.
Another thing is if you're a game designer, right, and you notice that certain people get upset when like someone loses a victory point, you could just renumber your game such that, let's say there's a move I could do where I get 5 and Rim loses 1. You could just change it so that in that situation, I get 6 and Rim gets 0 because it's effectively no different.
That is
And
complex with multiplayer games.
Of course, but if you could somehow rejigger the mathematics of your game to do that, then no one would get upset because no one's losing points.
I think they would still get upset because they would start to perceive the direct actions that get a lot of points as being unfair.
Yeah, maybe.
They would, in fact, I think it would cause almost the same effect.
Maybe, but I think there's just something about losing something, right? Having your shit messed up.
Yeah, well, case in point, you've all gotten stars before. That's the worst thing in the fucking world.
Mario Party, the star.
Oh my god, remember the double star that fucked us in the tournament, lost us the
right.
belt?
That's right.
That happens.
It happens. Okay. Let's talk about games we played at MAGFest.
All right, MAGFest was 4 days of gaming. Not going to talk about every game we played.
Were you not there? Why weren't you there?
Yeah, seriously.
You must suck.
Listen, I understand.
There's no other explanation for not being there.
I understand if you don't fly from, like, America to PAX Australia.
I understand if you don't fly from Mozambique to MAGFest. That
I
is
understand
acceptable.
if you don't fly to PAX Prime because you don't live on the West Coast.
Well, if you don't have tickets, right? It's understandable.
Yeah, I understand if you don't go to PAX East because
MAGFest
it's
is
sold
not
out.
sold out.
MAGFest had
And
no
it's 4
cap.
days, and it's New Year's. You're on vacation anyway. And it's not that
MAGFest
crowded.
is the best non-PAX convention ever.
Period.
So, MAGFest was awesome. We played a lot of games, played a lot of Dig Dug. Scott and I were neck and neck on this one machine, but then
It only keeps the top 5 scores, and some other dude comes and blows us out of the water,
Yeah,
so we don't
D-
know what our scores are.
all right, D_T, you had like 2 orders of magnitude higher score than me.
I don't know what the hell he's doing.
Winning.
I'm going to go practice me some Dig Dug.
I'm gonna practice some
But
fucking Dig
that's
Dug.
some bullshit because I said I was going to practice Mike Tyson's Punch-Out and didn't do that either.
Yeah, I did some of the challenges and it was fun. But I played a lot of Dig Dug. I played a lot of that weird eyes game that's like Pac-Man was shooting.
What?
You didn't see that?
No.
You're a floating eyeball on a Pac-Man board. There's pills to pick up, and you pick them up by shooting them. There's other eyes flying around. If they see you, they shoot at you, and you can shoot them. You pick up the things by shooting at them. If the other eyes shoot you, you die. It's really hard because if there's pills between you and the eye, you shoot at it, you hit the pill, its beam hits you.
I played Magical Drop 3. There were a lot of Magical Drop people there. You know what else?
The same motherfuckers were on the Initial D machine the entire con. I didn't even bother.
You know what else? Apparently, there's a game called Windjammers, which is sort of like Frisbee volleyball,
Yeah.
Frisbee tennis. It's for
Yeah.
the Neo Geo. So the Magical Drop machine was frequently a Windjammers machine because it's Neo Geo, right? But Giant Bomb, that podcast video show we don't watch and whatever, but we know exists, they have made Windjammers ridiculously popular for some reason. So during MAGFest, all these bros are playing Windjammers like crazy. And I was like, what the fuck? Get away from my magical drops. We want to drop some magic balls on your head. Stop throwing the discs.
There was an air hockey table we never got a chance to use.
Justice.
There was some Artemis Space Bridge that Emily and a bunch of our friends played.
Yep.
They got nuked and had some trouble.
It happens.
I think we're going to play some of that in the near future with our crew.
Mm-hmm.
But the games we played that we want to talk about are the tabletop games.
That's right.
Because there really aren't new console games that we haven't already talked about.
So there's one game, the big one, right? Is one that I've heard about for many moons, but I've never had a chance to play. But I've heard it oftenly spoke. It is maybe one of the highest ranking Board Game Geek games I haven't played, and
yeah, it's also $100 on Amazon.
right. The game is called Hansa Teutonica.
So if I had to analogize it after looking at it and learning the rules wrong twice, we'll get to that.
Talk about getting rules wrong. This is the
my
worst
God.
worst case of wrong rule ever.
So-
Ever.
I like the point that there were multiple people in one game who were all playing under radically different assumptions because different other sets of people who weren't playing told them wrong. and
People
all
who
of
said
those
they knew
people
how to
were
play.
wrong.
One person read the rules, another person super read the rules, another right. They all got it wrong.
The game feels a lot like some aspects of Thurn and Taxis, some aspects of Web of Power.
See, the thing is, those are games that I am A+ at, and those aspects I did not have in this game.
Yeah, this game
Partially because of wrong rule.
has extremely obscured positional heuristics to the point that it is almost impossible for a novice player to have any concept of how well they're doing until the game ends.
Yep.
And they will also not likely see the end of the game approaching.
Nope. Unless it's the victory point kind. That one's easy to see.
Yeah. But even then, they might not notice because the victory points seem to not get to that point usually.
Basically what it is, it's a game where, you're basically putting guys on roads similar to Ticket to Ride, but you have to sort of fight to control the roads, and some roads are better than others and
But
whatever.
controlling a road means you pick up all your guys and then interact with one of the endpoints of the road.
Yeah, it's like finishing a road allows you to put a real guy on the board, which is hard, right? And then the real guys are what actually matter.
But they're limited power grid style in where they can go. There's multiple kinds of guys.
Yep.
And the places they can interact with not only are limited, but are radically different.
Yep.
Like you put a guy in one spot and you control the office. You'll get victory points when other people finish routes that touch that. Or you can put it on the action thing and then like get more actions, get more workers to place later, or upgrade your bag, or upgrade all these things you've got on your little thingy.
But is really what makes it hard to figure out is the side effects. It's like upgrading the book, for example, right? So if you build a road in a certain place, you can upgrade your book, right? Okay, if you upgrade your book, then when you use the airlift action, you can airlift more dudes. But at the same time, you also get another merchant because you upgraded your book. So it's like all these, when you do something, it actually has like crazy side effects all over the place. And certain things you need really badly that go with other things you don't need so badly, and vice versa all over the place. So there isn't like this clear path of do these things in this order for optimal efficiency. It's like, oh, I can just go get more. Everyone is trying to just get more actions because that was so obviously good. But it's like, wait a minute. If I upgrade my bag, that's effectively getting more actions because I'll have to take less bag actions and can do more non-bag actions.
But in the game I played,
my bag is more efficient.
Because of counterattacks, I was able to do what I wanted with almost no bagging at any point.
Yep.
So the game is very reactive in that you can put your guys out on the road, but if you have guys out that haven't finished a road, other people can spend more guys to displace your guys, but then you get almost kind of like double guys. So if I displace one of Scott's guys, he gets to put two guys on a nearby road.
Then I can use the airlift to just move the guys that I've now gotten free extra guys.
So you see this strategy where people will put a guy in the way of someone else, hoping to get displaced, and that person might then not displace them because it would displace them somewhere that would fuck up their shit elsewhere.
And now your guys are all trapped in shit.
Yeah, or
because they're just hanging out there not being displaced.
Or you displace, someone else displaced. You have a displaced cascade over multiple rounds because people are getting all these guys on the board from being displaced. The board can change so radically between one turn and the next that you got to rethink your whole strategy.
Yep.
But the actions you take are extremely simple.
Yeah, there's only, 5 actions you can take? Bag, put guys, airlift guys, claim, and something else?
Something like that.
Yeah, and then on your turn, you get, 2 actions?
I only played it once. I got to read the rules in detail.
It's a game I definitely want to play again, but I think it has a lot of long-term play possibilities.
Yes.
But I think Tammany Hall, I want to play again more.
I want to play that too.
I want to play that more than I want to play Hansa Teutonica, but I foresee it having less long-term possibilities. Like, I think it'd be more like fun while it lasts, like more. But I think Hansa Teutonica could become a game you play for a long time. But I feel Hansa Teutonica felt a lot like, similar to Brass, which I have. Right? So it's like I already have Brass. I don't need to buy that one.
I would buy Hansa Teutonica if it weren't $100 on Amazon.
Well, go check it at the Strat where it's going to be.
That's what I'm going to do.
$100.
You never know. You never know. This game, however, in the early days, before we got into German board gaming culture and just played these games on our own, the way we'd learn is we'd all independently read the rule book and then we'd play.
Mm-hmm.
Then we got into the board gaming culture, which is very much a culture of the oral tradition.
People don't want to read rules. For some reason, reading rules is not fun, and people don't want to do it.
So most people learn board games by having someone else teach them.
And they get the rules fucking wrong.
Yeah, one asshole gets the rules wrong, teaches 100 other assholes, and then you'll have an entire generation playing a game wrong.
Because of one guy who's illiterate.
Never mind games that have rules changes.
Mm-hmm.
Not Glory to Rome. Seven Wonders has some of that. There's different copies of the rule book that say different things in certain key areas. Carcassonne has no less than 3 completely different ways to score farmers, depending on what rule book you have.
I've never met a person who is new to Netrunner that plays it properly from the get-go.
That's just how it
They're
goes.
like, if it doesn't have an end the run, do I still have to break this ice? It's like, no, just keep going.
I am now going to fully read the rule book of any game, even if someone teaches it to me. Because there are a lot of games I play that I've never read the rule book for.
Oh, yeah.
Like Eclipse, I've never read it. I've been taught.
Yeah, there were games. Well, I've read the rule book for Eclipse.
I have
but
not.
not the expansion one. Yeah, there are games where we've been getting the rules wrong the whole time.
Well, remember the
forever.
first time we played Puerto Rico, we got it way wrong.
Well, wasn't there something we got wrong in like Seven Wonders this whole time?
Yeah.
That we discovered.
Now I'm trying to find
What game? There was some game over the weekend where like we discovered we always been playing it wrong.
Yes, but I found a copy of the rules online at least that says the way we were playing, so I could do some research. But the biggest one was Amun Re, which we got something wrong. We fixed it like a year later wrongly. And then years after that, we were playing with someone at a con, and they were like, what the fuck? That's not how that rule works. And we all looked at each other. We're like, what? No. We looked in the rule book. No. We were wrong.
Yeah.
So even the gameriest gamers get this shit wrong. The moral, at some point, even if you've been taught how to play a game,
read all the rules, not just like the sections that you're shady on. Read every word of even the sections you are so sure of.
and read it cover to cover.
Yeah. Every
And also,
word.
if you learn a game like Small World and then someone tries to play Vinci with you, just don't. if games are very similar, pick one and never play the other one. Because I still fuck up Small World because of Vinci.
Yes. I've had a hard time playing Small World.
Yeah.
All right, what else did we play?
So I
at
played this
MAGFest?
game that friends taught us correctly. I have learned which friends are trustworthy and which ones aren't. Ginkopolis.
Okay.
It's hard to explain what's cool about this game, but it works with 2 players. It can be played 1 player, kind of like Agricola can. I'm really at a loss for how to describe this game. It's kind of like tile worker placement, but the mechanics are. It has no less than 3 pretty unique mechanics. I really can't. Scott, I bought it. I ordered it
Okay.
because I liked
Spend
it.
all the money you want.
It was cheap. We have to play it, and then we have to review it because it's really difficult to explain. 1, I don't know if the game's good, but I enjoyed it. 2, it is very difficult without going into extreme depth to explain this game. It needs an entire show. But even if it ends up being bad on multiple playthroughs, Ginkopolis gets points for being way different from any board game I have ever played, yet using the concepts and mechanics of board games that I'm intimately familiar with. I like it, and I can't explain it until later.
All right. Did you play? We didn't play this at MAGFest. We played it at New Year's. Did you play Coup? C-O-U-P? Coup?
I watched other people play it, but I was involved in something else at the table.
Okay, so here's how the game works, right? It was a game that I've seen around a lot lately, just like I've seen Love Letter and The Resistance around a lot lately.
Yep.
It's a similar small box game. It seemed to be played by the same kinds of groups of people, like, that casual board game meetup kind of game. After playing it, I can see why. Here's how it works. Real simple game. It's a deck of cards. There's different rolls. There's 2 copies of each roll in the box, right? Everyone gets 2 face down. You look at them, but you don't show anyone because it's a bluffing game. On your turn, there's certain actions you can do, right? Like take monies, kill people, etc. Killing people, I think, costs like $7 or something. There's a limit on how much money you can have, which actually ruined the most obvious strategy that I had.
Oh, my question, and you can answer it after you keep talking. Is it just the balloon popping game?
Similar.
Okay.
Not quite, though, right? Because it's not about voting, right? It's you basically can only pop a balloon if you get up to 7, which is hard to do, right? So it's sort of like, it's like one person can, basically you have to earn a vote first, which is where the game happens, is the earning of the vote. Also, let's say there's certain actions you can do. Like you can always take $1, but if you want, you can try to take $2. But if someone is the Duke, they can say, you don't get $2. You get 0. They can cancel your action. Now, let's say that happens. Let's say it's me, Rim, and Emily goes, taking $2. And Rim says, I'm the Duke. You can't do that. I'm going to stop you. Emily can either say, okay, and put the $2 back, or can say, fuck you, Rim, you don't have the Duke. And if you have the Duke, you turn it over, and one of Emily's characters dies.
All right, so it's balloon popping game with bullshit.
Exactly. And if you do have if you don't have a Duke, one of your guys dies because you were lying, right? So that's pretty much it. Whoever the last person alive wins. So I realized the game gets really kind of silly and pointless after like a few people were eliminated. And pretty much a lot of who wins and loses is determined by who people decide to eliminate early, right? It's like if someone decides to kill one of your guys like first, well, you're not going to win now, right?
Now, see, this is why a lot of listeners always try, like at conventions, like they don't listen to the show that often, or they haven't listened to old episodes. They're always like, oh man, you should play the Resistance, all these games. And the reason I'm always really down on them is because they're all either just Citadels or Mafia. So I might as well just play Citadels or Mafia.
Yeah. I haven't played the Resistance. It's supposedly the better Mafia.
I've played it. It's better in the same way that Uchronia is better than Glory to Rome.
I was afraid of that.
Like, it's different. It does interesting things, but if I'm going to play a game that's like that anyway, I might as well I'd rather play a pure version of that game. I'd rather just play the purely political, purely psychological Mafia.
But yeah, if you're that kind of, gamer who's not super serious.
I love the way you said that. If you're stupid, if you like stupid shit.
You're that kind of person who like goes to Nerd NYC meetup and whatever and enjoys it and loves that kind of stuff.
That's my new insult, Scott. Anytime someone likes something
that kind of person
that I don't like, I'll be like, well, that's a great anime if you're that kind of person.
You're that kind of person, yeah. Then Coup is actually, it's just another one of those great games for the people who like games such as Pandemic, The Resistance, Battlestar Galactica, etc. If those are your kind of game, put Coup on the list. You'll fucking love it.
So speaking of Coup, we played at MAGFest. We got a bunch of our friends together who they're all like hardcore gamers like us. They've never played Citadels. So we busted it out and played it.
We didn't finish it.
I love my friends because they'd never played this game before. We taught them, we started playing, and they did the right thing and ruined the game.
And they immediately shuffled the hands and
Everyone
randomly chose their roles.
The whole game was random.
Half the table was randomly choosing.
Everyone acted randomly. At one point, I arranged the cards and handed them to my left, and that person was looking at their cards for a while, and then they stopped, and they looked at me, and then they put the cards under the table and shuffled them and put one face off. Like, it was beautiful.
I actually twice chose non-randomly to see if that would help.
I acted like I was choosing randomly, but decided hoping that at least one of our friends was going to be stupid, and it turned out no one was stupid. Like, I was really banking on one person being stupid. A person, not a particular person, but anyone. All I needed was a person who was stupid, and I could have eked out victory because I've basically, solved Citadels, but nope. Like the game at one point we were like, is everyone just going to act randomly until the end? And they're like, yup. And we're like, okay, we're done. We put the game away.
We just had something else to do.
Well, we wanted to play Eclipse.
That too.
I played a little game, Cheaty Mages, that Adam had.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
It was actually really fun. So it's this little game, and it's gladiatorial arena, and you bust out all these gladiators, and they're gonna fight like the dragon and the demon and the goblin, and your mages. And you bet on who you think you're going to win, and it's horse betting. So you bet on one guy, two guys, or three guys, with lower payout if you bet on more people if one of your guys wins.
I would just go all in on one guy each time.
Yes, and then you take turns playing cards, basically cheating.
To get the odds of your guy winning.
So you'll cast spells. Some spells are open, like make this guy weaker, make this guy stronger. Some spells go face down.
Can you bet on the same guy someone else bet on?
Yeah, it's secret betting. You don't know who bet on what.
This is obvious what to do. In the round one, I don't want to go first. Right? I want someone else to go first.
You don't know what people bet on.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, then I don't know what to do.
So, to make matters more interesting, here's the catch. Every battle...
Can I wait to see how they cheat before I bet?
Yeah. You bet first, and then you go around betting, doing stuff until everyone passes.
Oh, no. I want to bet after people do stuff.
You get 6 spells. You can cast as many as you want. You draw 3 at the end of the turn with a hand limit of 6, and you do 3 turns. Like 3 go-arounds. The key is that every go-around, you randomly flip over a judge, and the judges all have specific rules. Like, can't cast forbidden spells, can't cast direct spells, do whatever the fuck you want. And it's just really fun and really quick and really light.
All right. I think I played another game.
Jungle Speed Safari you played.
Oh, that's the one I was forgetting.
So I watched you guys play, and when you all went, rah, rah, I decided that game looked stupid.
It is stupid. Do not play Jungle Speed Safari, just play Jungle Speed.
Yep.
The end. It's a baby game.
We played some Jungle Speed. I got cut. Like, I got cut and bled all over the totem. It was awesome.
I got you.
Chia cut me.
I think there's one other game we played.
We played Eclipse. I kind of want to talk about our game of Eclipse.
That's what I was suggesting.
All right. So before we get to Eclipse, played a lot of Glory to Rome, which Scott is down on.
I mean, it's not a bad game. It's just you guys play it so fucking much.
So I played it a bunch.
You play that more. You played more games of Glory to Rome than I played of Netrunner.
So I played Glory to Rome a bunch of times.
So much Glory to Rome.
And I put a lot of thought into who was playing with me and why they wanted to play Glory to Rome over other games. And I figured it out. One, because Glory to Rome is fairly straightforward rules-wise, like it's actually pretty easy to teach for as complex as it looks. Pretty much everyone we know knows the rules, which you can't say about almost any other good game we own. Any game, El Grande,
you know
Puerto
why?
Rico,
you know why?
T&E.
You know why? Because people play Glory to Rome instead of playing those games and learning them.
2, the game is pretty quick.
Yeah.
Like 45 minutes at most if everyone knows what the fuck they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
And 3, it is a game of skill.
Mostly.
Yeah, and 4, no one we know has solved it.
You can get a bad draw.
Yeah, you can, but I've learned to mitigate that. So the novel thing is that I played a few games of the Imperium version, which I haven't really played much. And I really like the Imperium version now because in the normal game, a lot of people follow the leader often. In the Imperium version, like I lead a role and most of the time, most people think. Like it is way hard to do anything. And you can't rely on luck of the draw. You've got to have a strategy, and you've got to commit to that strategy. So I'm going to play Glory to Rome, only Imperium version, for a little while, and then I'm going to probably write something up about it.
I'll play some Imperium version.
Well, we'll do it. We'll do it.
So we played a game of Eclipse.
With everything.
With absolutely every expansion thing there is.
I liked everything except for... I think alliances, you cannot play Eclipse with the alliance mechanic if you were smart.
Yeah, I'm definitely not a fan of the alliances, not only because they make the game way, way longer, right?
We now understand exactly mechanically why it makes the game take longer, though.
So the reason it makes the game take longer, the first reason, is sort of a meta reason, right? It's like, let's say you're playing a game, any game, and on your turn, you think of what to do and you do it. And you're a fast turn taker, right? Any game.
Yep.
If you have an alliance, suddenly on your turn, you're now discussing with your teammate what to do. Not like bridge, you're not allowed to discuss, right?
Yep.
You're discussing.
And that happened in our game. As soon as I was in alliance with
Physically, the act of talking, hearing, takes way, way more time than the act of just thinking and deciding.
Suddenly,
and
I have to say things like, you move your guys there so that when the gray token comes to me, I can build a unit to move it.
Every single turn, constantly talking, the 2 allied people took on their turns, Rim and G, more time.
3 allied people. We had Pete, too.
Pete wasn't really...
I'll get to Pete.
Yeah.
I'm going to call Pete out for being shit at Eclipse, but we'll get to that.
You know... You just friggin' took so long in your turns because you had to physically talk to other people about what you were going to do.
There's a secondary problem with the alliances that further exacerbates this.
Yep.
So if I'm playing by myself...
This counts for any game with alliances, but
I can
also.
use really rough heuristics to follow what's going on in sectors of space that are far away from me. And I only need to apply complex heuristics to my immediate neighbors or emergent situations that I could affect in some fashion. Like, I ignore Scott because he's behind Andrew.
I'm so far away, you can't affect me, and I can't affect you. So you don't even need to pay attention to me on your turn because you can't do anything about it unless maybe I'm going to buy a science off the thing, in which case you couldn't stop me anyway.
So let's say there's you and me, and we're separated by Andrew. And suddenly, I see you move all your ships away from Andrew because you're going to attack Pete. That might affect my decision, and now I'm going to go attack Andrew. But notice how it's something really broad. He's moving a bunch of guys away.
Yep.
If Chie's next to me, I'll be like, she built that fighter. Yep. I'm going to walk over to her.
It has this equipment in it.
I'm walking over and looking at what that ship has and then calculating some odds. But as soon as I was allied with Chie, I had to look at the whole board now, and more importantly, I had to look at the other alliance. And I couldn't just look at Scott. I had to look at Scott's ally.
I wasn't in an alliance.
Oh, right. The other 2 were in the alliance, and you were by yourself. So now I have to look at the other alliance And every alliance. So if there's an alliance and then 2 lone wolves and then I'm an alliance, I have to analyze all the other entities every turn. I can't ignore anything.
You have to play for your whole team, basically.
And
everyone on your team has to play for your whole team.
And every turn, I have to calculate.
You're all the quarterback of the whole 3-team army.
And I have to calculate not just, will this get me points? I have to calculate, does this give my team more average points than it would if I did Y or Z?
That's the specific thing to Eclipse that makes it even harder for the Alliance.
Yeah, an Alliance is scored as the average of all the members. You're calculating
the average of your 3 guys. So it's like, well, this is the way I can get the most points. But if I did this, our average score would go up more. So we should do that instead. And suddenly everything takes longer to calculate.
And luckily, while they're highly political, that is, unlike Dune, mitigated heavily by the fact that you can really only ally with people you've gotten into contact with. And interestingly, I don't think the alliances are actually political in most cases. Like in this game, I did not want to ally with Chie. I was forced to, because the way the board ended up, we shared a border near the Galactic Center, and then Pete drew tiles that had a wormhole on them, and Chie drew a tile that had a wormhole on it. So there's a wormhole connecting Chie and Pete, and I was neighboring Chie. We were forced into an alliance because otherwise Pete would have attacked Chie, and there would have been this huge cycle of bullshit.
Well, why not have a cycle of bullshit if you can come out on top?
Because I didn't think I could come out on top in that situation.
Well, then if you don't think you could have, one of those other 2 people was going to. Is that not correct?
But
so why did that person choose to ally and not just attack?
So Pete allied because he planned from the beginning to break the alliance and fuck us, and the only way to get us to stay away from the wormhole was to be in an alliance with us.
Oh, so he wanted to ally to get you to move a certain way and then break it so they get a lot
So
of
on the
points.
last turn, he's like, I betray you.
But you can't break an alliance on the last turn.
Yeah, so now we had to play the last turn with an ally who tried and could not betray us, who was still in our alliance. We couldn't kick him out.
Right.
Also, he derped around and kind of just fucked up.
Well, you allied with someone just because they were touching you.
We had to because we had no way to defend ourselves otherwise.
Why don't you defend yourself?
Yeah, so the alliances ruin Eclipse. Never play with alliances.
Right. Another thing is that there's all the extra stuff in the Eclipse that isn't alliances in the expansion. It just gives you more stuff.
I disagree.
It's not good. It's not bad, but I don't think it really makes a difference. It just makes more calculations.
Basic Eclipse is super boring.
It's not super boring.
I think it's super boring.
It's not mechanically different. You don't make different decisions. It just takes you more time to calculate.
No, the Galactic Center falls basically immediately. It's just a race to the center and a race to research, and aliens are just victory points. At least with the strong aliens, it forces you to have a cycle of development, and you have to plan between attacking aliens and attacking people.
Nah, the aliens aren't that much harder. The regular aliens are still on the board. The Galactic Center, I was going to take it out if you didn't interfere.
Your ships sucked ass.
My ships are great at killing
how
the Galactic...
come I destroyed your fleet with almost no damage to mine?
Because I was built Galactic Center fighting ships, not Rim fighting ships.
Scott, I said out loud, because we're in that alliance, every turn, for multiple turns, if Scott attacks the Galactic Center, I'm sending my glass cannons in to fuck him.
You were which is why I thought you weren't going to do it. And you also, on the very turn that you did it, you were ho-humming and not so committing to it, and I was like, he's not gonna do it.
Well, because I could have glass cannon Phil.
That's why I was saying, I'm like, he's not gonna do it. He's gonna go the other way.
Yeah, and then I looked at your ships, and your ships were bullshit, so I attacked you.
My ships were great against the Galactic Center.
So were mine. I
got fucked by the god of dice, but Elia acted.
That's your fault for leaning on the table.
Scott Johnson led on the table, not Scott Rubin.
I'll put it this way. We can debate about the other parts, like Scott and I don't agree 100%, but we agree do not use alliances in Eclipse. But the parallel turn play actually is pretty great.
Yeah, that was the thing I was actually the most skeptical about. Was simultaneous turns.
You were like, no, like you were really mad about it before we played, but it
ended up not. And in fact, the only times it mattered, no one else seemed to notice. There were 3 times where I held on to the guy, and someone else could have forced me to take my turn before they took their turn. But I really, really, really wanted them to take their turn first so I could see what they were going to do. And they didn't even notice. They just took their turn and passed the thing, and then I took my turn and passed the thing and wiped the sweat off my brow.
Yep.
And I'm like, all right, if you're just going to let me do that.
Look at the elegance of the mechanic. you don't have to make it an issue unless both people care.
Mm-hmm.
So you only ever.
But they were stupid not to care. Were they not paying attention?
Maybe they had other concerns.
They must have. So I basically got my way 3 times. But if I had been playing with a bunch of Scott Rubins, maybe the simultaneous turn mechanic would not have been so pleasant. It's possible. But yeah, it was still, in the real experience, it was much better than I anticipated.
What game did I play?
Would play again with simultaneous turns.
I played this game. It was a Skojo's party. I don't remember which game. Oh, right. It was Homesteaders.
Right.
Where it had that mechanic where basically everyone does something simultaneously. So we start playing, and I immediately just said, I'm not taking my action until everyone else is taking their action. And the guy who taught us the game, Size, pulls out the book and quotes a thing that basically says, if any player makes an issue of this, then play proceeds in this way. And he was like, you're that guy, Rim. And I was like, yep.
Yep.
You know what? I really want to play Eclipse.
All right, let's play it.
Like right now.
All right.
Maybe we should play some 2-player.
All right.
See how that goes. That
All
might
right.
be interesting.
Nothing wrong with that.
Maybe I'll come over this weekend. Want to play Eclipse over footballs?
We don't have a table in my house.
On the floor.
And
In
we
the
don't
kitchen.
have an expansion.
Kitchen floor, no expansions.
Buy me the expansion.
I thought you hated the expansions.
I thought you wanted the expansion so badly.
I could play without them. I just really like them.
All right.
Maybe this will happen. All right. MAGFest was fucking awesome, and I think we're done. Any more games? Is that it?
I'm sure there might have been, but I want to go home and eat. I'm hungry.
Yeah, I'm also super hungry. So yeah, we're back in town, guys. We're going to be doing Geek Nights again. Watch out. This has been Geek Nights with Rim and Scott. Special thanks to DJ Pretzel for the opening music, Kat Lee for web design, and Brando K for the logos.
Be sure to visit our website at frontrowcrew.com for show notes, discussion, news, and more.
Remember, Geek Nights is not 1, but 4 different shows. Sci-Tech Mondays, Gaming Tuesdays, Anime Comic Wednesdays, and Indiscriminate Thursdays.
Geeknights is distributed under a Creative Commons Attribution 3.0 license. Geeknights is recorded live with no studio and no audience. But unlike those other late shows, it's actually recorded at night. And maybe baking some breads.
You want to do some video or some game streaming?
Does it involve football or warm bread?
I don't know. People really, the Utena videos are starting to get some views.
Oh, yeah, we should do that, but it's cold.
It's going to be like 50 fucking degrees this weekend.
It's going to rain.
On Friday.
It's going to rain. It is.
I'm going to bike on Saturday. Fuck y'all.
I saw a dude biking this morning.
Scott, 2 days ago, I was walking home wearing my heaviest jacket, thinking to myself, fuck, walk real slow, don't let the cold air in. I saw a dude wearing tights and a ski jacket running.
Yeah, I see people running a lot. Running's one thing.
It was 6 degrees.
Running heats you up. Biking, it's like when it's like there's a fan blowing on you. You're creating your own wind
So
chill.
Scott, I know you don't ski, but I'll say one thing. When I go skiing, like
Same shit happens?
So the temperature on the ground in the wind during the cold snap in New York was about the temperature I experienced on the top of the mountains.
Oh, another reason not to ski. Cool.
So the problem is you get to the top of the mountain and it's that cold and it's windy. So you start skiing and your face starts to freeze.
But then you're going down the mountain, it's getting warmer.
And so as you're going down,
And
you're
you're
getting
exerting
warmer
yourself.
and you're exerting yourself. So by the bottom, you're so hot you want to take your coat off. Anyway, we're back, all that stuff. So I got a geek bite. I don't know if you have any news or anything.
I have news.
There's a lot of news, but so I'll do my geek bite really quick. I played the Stanley Parable. I don't think it's really worth doing a whole show on unless we do a broader topic about that kind of game.
I played the demo of that. That's the one where you walk around the hallways in the Half-Life engine and it just sort of like the guy tells you what to do.
Yeah, so fuck the demo, play the full game. It added a lot and really, really polished it.
Yeah.
Like, It's Tuesday, January 7th, 2014.
Oh my God, you got it right.
I'm Rim.
I'm Scott.
And this is Geek Nights. Scott, I think, was betting with himself on that. And tonight, we're talking about the Games of MAGFest 11.
MAGFest 2014.
The 11th MAGFest.
I think it might be more than the 11th MAGFest.
Maybe the 12th MAGFest? We went
think
to
it
9,
may have been the
10, I don't know.
I think it may have been the 12th.
The most recent MAGFest.
2014 MAGFest.
Let's do
this.
I'm almost relieved that we don't have any conventions until PAX East.
You skipped my opening bit. You know what my opening bit is?
What's your opening bit?
Woman.
It's warm today.
It's a little bit warm
We
today.
didn't do any
Only
Geeknights.
relatively speaking.
Now, just want to point out that it wasn't that cold in New York.
Compared to other places, it wasn't as cold in New York. It was still fucking cold.
But it was not below 0 Fahrenheit because that, just growing up in Detroit.
Okay, Fahrenheit, yeah, it came close. We were in the single digits.
We hit
Fahrenheit.
4. We hit 4. And you know what? I will admit that 4 is pretty nippy.
Just only pretty nippy?
Well, it was funny
It's
because I
ridiculously cold.
So I did not. This, my life. I think about these.
You
things.
have hair.
I do hair that I wash in the morning, so it gets wet.
Dry it before you go outside.
That takes too long. You know what I did? I did not wash my hair in the morning for 3 days.
Hair makes a big difference. I was really cold.
Also hats. So when I walked outside, one, I didn't get my hair wet because a group in Michigan went to school in Rock Experience, and you're walking, and eventually there's a choice. There's 2 doors, and the narrator is kind of describing Stanley got up and walked around, and Stanley decided to go into the door on the left.
And you don't have to go in the door on the left.
And I go into the door on the right, and things go off the rails.
Just go in the door on the left.
And if you do that, it's just... So what surprised me was how reactive the moderator was to me. Like, at one point, I walked into a place, and I'm just kind of hanging out in there, looking around, and then the narrator's like, there's really nothing to do in this room. Stanley really should just get on with his journey. Really? You're going to stay in that room? Well, fine. And stuff happens. So I got to a point where there's a room and there's a phone and it's ringing. And it's like Stanley was about to embark on the great journey. And the narrator's saying this long thing. So I see there's a cord. So I run around the room, just click on everything. And I click on the cord and it just unplugs the phone and it stops ringing. And then the narrator's like, really? Really? Well, fuck. It's really funny. It is as funny as Portal, but there's no skill game in there. It's Portal without the game part, but with the other game part. Because game means a lot of things.
These people who make these things should stop making entertainment softwares and should just make amusement park places. They should just become, what's it called at Disney? What's that job?
Well, this is that.
Imagineers?
In fact, if you could make the Stanley Parable.
They should just become Imagineers and quit their video game making ways.
No, here's the thing. You could not fully make the Stanley
Parable.
Parable.
Or Imagineers should make entertainment softwares just like this.
The problem with making the Stanley Parable in the real world is that it uses non-Euclidean geometry heavily.
Yeah.
There's a lot of places where you'll walk around.
So does the Haunted High Mansion. I played that a long time ago, and then it's ignored it.
If I had to summarize this game, and Scott can talk about it because he played the demo, this is just more than the demo.
It's like Bastion, the FPS, without the action.
You know what it is? It's what Elevator Source should have been. It's the same kind of game as Elevator Source. It's an experience.
Non-game?
It's a game.
It's an entertainment software?
Yes, interactive amusement. I would argue that it fits into our definition of ideal game. Definitely. Sure. Because you play through the game and your decisions affect your personal outcome. Play the game again, different decisions make a different outcome.
There's only a limited set of outcomes.
All games have a limited set of outcomes.
Yeah, but
the universe has quanta.
NetHack has a effectively infinite set of outcomes, as does Dwarf Fortress.
But it is technically limited.
Technically.
There is a limit. The Stanley Parable, Scott, the new version, has more outcomes than you would expect, and they're subtle.
Does it have more than Chrono Trigger?
I'll put it this way. I played it for 2 hours, and I saw all the outcomes I cared to, and at no point did anything repeat. And what amazed me about this game, or I guess what surprised me, I shouldn't say amazed, is the number and variety of ways the narrator would react to things I did that I did not expect him to react to. And also the fact that in the kind of remade game, there's a very ominous feeling in the beginning. Like, the game almost feels sinister, depending on
sinister when I played it
the directions you take and where you go. I don't want to spoil it at all, but it's a game that everyone should experience. It is an interactive amusement that is highly amusing. And the moment that got me, as I walk around and I'm doing stuff, and basically the gist of this game, then you get this Chester. I've experienced frozen head hair. It's not pleasant. I get down to the street and I start walking toward the subway, and there's a cop, and he stops a guy who's walking out of his apartment, and he's like, "Yo, dog, you should put on a hat." And the guy's like, "What? It's not that cold." And then he kind of pauses, and the cop's like, "You're gonna get frostbite." And the guy's like, "Yeah," and he goes back inside. But there were actually cops going around, like, telling people, like that was the thing I saw people tweeting about, to put on hats because it was cold enough to get frostbite if you live too far from the subway.
I did not witness that.
Maybe it's just your neighborhood? I don't know.
I don't know.
There's a lot more cops in my neighborhood because there's that bridge thing right there. Like there's the cop every day forcing
the traffic
people.
cops.
Yeah, but they talk to people, like they hang out. They
When I bike in the summer past traffic cops and crossing guards, they talk to you. They try to.
try to. I imagine, yo, asshole, you're the. Hey, you can't go.
Something like that.
So yeah, we're back. We're bad. I don't expect there'll be that many interruptions to Geeknights for a few months.
PAX East.
PAX East is in April.
I thought it was March.
I don't remember. So why? It's a ways out.
Anime Boston.
Anime Boston still got to submit panels too. What else? What other cons? PAX Prime, I guess.
When's Zenkai Con?
Sometime in the summer. I don't know. We're committed to going. I just don't.
Are we?
No. Yeah. We're doing like 4 panels.
I see a bucket. Well, I
don't know.
don't see a bucket. I see a pail and a word that rhymes with it.
We also. It's this weekend. Maybe. I don't know.
Not doing anything this weekend except watching football.